Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Balaba Girivanadari Gopijana Balaba Girivanadari Jasodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Jasodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Jamuna Tiravanatari Jamuna Tiravanatari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Balaba Girivanadari Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tiravanatari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Boom! Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Boom! Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Boom! Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pri Vijayakarya Siddha Shisham His Divine Grace Abhay Charan Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki. ISKCON BBT Founder Charya Jagaguru Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ananda Kota Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Namachar Shaharidas Thakur Ki. Prem Shikoho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Say Sri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki. Vrindavan Dham Ki. Mritur Dham Ki. Dwarka Dham Ki. Navadi Dham Ki. Jagannath Dham Ki. Jamuna Mai Ki. Ganga Mai Ki. Tulsi Maharani Ki. Bhakti Devi Ki. Samveda Bhakta Vinda Ki. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Say Siddhara Giridhari Ki. Shri Krishna Sankirtana Jaga Ki. Go Premanande. All glories to the Samuel devotees. All glories to the Samuel devotees. All glories to the Samuel devotees. All glories to the divine lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Krishna Swadamo Bhagate Dhammaganadi Bisaha Kalandasa Dashamesha Parana Kornado Data Narayana Namaskritcha Dharam Chaivam Narotama Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato-jaya Mudirayat Nasta Prayeshu Abadeshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavata Uttame Shloki Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are on the 6th canto, chapter 9, text 40. And just for the purifying the ether, you could chant that. Dravida Prabhu, you up to the challenge? I thought you would be.
Tri Bhavanatma Bhavana Tri Vikrama Tri Nayana Tri Loka Manoharanu Bhava Tavaiva Vibhutayo Didijadanu Jadayas Chapi Tesham Upakrama Samayo Yam Iti Swapna Mayaya Sodanada Mrigat Misrita Jalachara Kritibir Yata Paradham Dandam Danda Dadartha Evam Enam Api Bhagavan Jahi Tvastram Utayadi Manyase.
Now this is the thank you. This is the demigods praying to trying to invoke Lord Vishnu to appear and save them from Vritrasura, who's the attacking Indra. So that's the scene. We've set the scene. The translation is, O Lord, O personified three worlds, Father of the three worlds, O strength of the three worlds, in the form of Vamana incarnation, O three-eyed form of Nrsinga Dev, O most beautiful person within the three worlds. Everything and everyone, including human beings and even the Daitya demons and the Danavas, is but an expansion of your energy. O supremely powerful one, you have always appeared in your forms as the various incarnations to punish the demons as soon as they become very powerful. You appear as Lord Vamanadeva, Lord Ram, and Lord Krishna. You appear sometimes as an animal like the boar, sometimes a mixed incarnation like Lord Nrsingadev or Lord Hayagriva, and sometimes as an aquatic like Lord Fish and Lord Tortoise. Assuming such various forms, you've always punished the demons and none of us. We therefore pray that your lordship appear today as another incarnation, if you so desire, to kill the great demon Vritrasura. Well, we'll read Prabhupada's purport. There are two kinds of devotees, known as Sakama and Akama. Pure devotees are Akama, whereas devotees in the upper planetary system, such as the demigods, are called Sakama, because they still want to enjoy material opulence. Because of their pious activities, the Sakama devotees are promoted to the higher planetary systems, but at heart, they still desire to lord it over the material resources. The Sakama devotees are sometimes disturbed by the demons and the Rakshasas, but the Lord is so kind that He always saves them by appearing as an incarnation. The Lord's incarnations are so powerful that Lord Vamanadeva covered the entire universe with 2 steps, and therefore had no place for his 3rd step. Anyone know where he placed his 3rd step, other than Dravida? On the head of Lord Bali Maharaj. Well, there's a lot we could say about that, but we've got to focus here. Therefore had no place to place his 3rd step. The Lord is called Trivikram because he showed his strength by delivering the entire universe with merely 3 steps. The difference between Sakama and Akama devotees is that when Sakama devotees, like the demigods, fall into difficulty, they approach the Supreme Personality Godhead for relief. Whereas Akama devotees, even in the greatest dangers, never disturb the Lord for material benefits. Even if an Akama devotee is suffering, he thinks, this is due to my past impious activities, and agrees to suffer the consequences. He never disturbs the Lord. Sakama devotees immediately pray to the Lord as soon as they're in difficulty, but they are regarded as pious because they consider themselves fully dependent on the mercy of the Lord. As stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Tate nukampam sushamikshamano munjana evatma kritam vipakam hridvag vipurbir vidadan namaste jiveta yo mukti pade sadayabak. That's Bhagavatam 10:14-8, and we're going to get to the translation and purport of that in due course. Even while suffering in the midst of difficulties, Sakama devotees simply offer their prayers and services more enthusiastically. Hello there. Hello to you. You're welcome. We're in the middle of a Bhagavatam class. You can come offer your respects, and the devotees will get you a little Mahaprasadam, and we're going to carry on with class. Nice to see you. Hare Krishna. Even while suffering in the midst of difficulties, Sakama devotees simply offer their prayers and service more enthusiastically. I've inserted the word, not Sakama, Akama. Akama, devotees without desire. In this way, they become firmly fixed in devotional service and eligible to return home, back to Godhead, without a doubt. Sakama devotees, of course, achieve from the Lord the results they desire from their prayers. So Sakama devotees, of course, achieve from the Lord the results they desire from their prayers. But they do not immediately become fit to return back to Godhead. It is to be noted herein that Lord Vishnu in his various incarnations is always the protector of his devotees. Srila Madhvacharya says, Vidvan bhava patravat sarve Vishnur vibhutaya Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. All other incarnations proceed from Lord Vishnu. Om Agena Tamarandasya Gyana Gena Salakaya Chakshushun Militangena Tasane Shri Gurave Namaha. Who's going to get our guests a little bit of some Mahaprashadam? Oh, he's already on the case. Oh, you guys are well trained. Om Agena Tamarandasya Gyana Gena Salakaya Chakshushun Militangena Tasane Shri Gurave Namaha. So, we do have a main theme we want to focus on, but I wanted to say just a few ancillary or points. This three-eyed Lord Nrsingadev. Now, what's that all about? I have never seen a three-eyed form of Lord Vishnu. A three-eyed form of Lord Nrsingadev. But if you look at, I sent out an inquiry to the my colleagues and seniors on the GBC conference, and I got a couple answers back. One of them is if you look at the word for word, it means he's the seer of all three planetary systems, upper, lower, and middle. So in this way, he's got his eyes everywhere. He's three-eyed because he's seeing all the different three planetary systems. And Prabhupada often uses this analogy, of course, the universal form, the Krishna's Vishwarup. Krishna sees everything. Does anyone know what are the two eyes of the Vishwarup other than Dravida Prabhu? What's one of them? Yes, Prabhu. Sun and moon. If I close one eye, I can see with the other, right? So in this way, Krishna's either seeing with the sun or the moon. Krishna sees everything. Of course, there was a kid one time who asked me, what about a moonless night? So I said, make this kid a lawyer. He's immediately found a loophole. It's a material example, so there's always going to be some spot on it. But for the materialist, the fact that Krishna sees everything is a little worrisome, because they're trying to find some dark corner that they can do something nefarious and it's not recorded. And for the devotee, it's both cautionary and reassuring. We know that Krishna's everywhere, Krishna sees everything. Therefore, as it says here in this verse, that Krishna's the protector. So devotees take solace in that. Krishna sees me everywhere. He's always watching out for me. But it also means, hey, you can't cheat, you know. What is it? Falgun Yoga? There's a river called the Falgun River. And on the surface, in the riverbed, you can't see it. But if you dig down deep enough, there's water running underneath. So the example is that I pretend to be austere. I'm fasting on a fast day. I'm very austere. When I go to take my bath and dunk under the water, I think no one's seeing. What do? Take a little drink of water. So, and then I come up and say, yes, just see, I'm not even taking any water. But Krishna sees everything, Krishna knows everything, and for the devotee there's both assurance in that, and it's also cautionary that you can't cheat. So there's a few, and it turns out, of course we know that there's many forms of Lord Nrsingadev, but from Radha Raman, he quotes a prayer by Ramanujacharya to Lord Nrsingadev. And in that prayer, it refers to a form of Lord Nrsingadev that actually has three eyes. So it's both an analogy that Lord Nrsingadev is witnessing and protecting and maintaining all three planetary systems, but he also has a form with three eyes. I've sent the follow-up, can you get me a picture? So we'll see what comes of that. Now, it talks about everything and everyone is but an expansion of your energy. This is an example why we need to hear the Shastra through the lips of realized souls. Because, I spent 2.5 months in Southeast Asia. And it's the same thing here. It's the same thing everywhere. It is the cornerstone focus of Srila Prabhupada's personal pranam mantra. What does that mantra say? What is the duty of ISKCON as followers of Srila Prabhupada? What are we fighting with? In addition to our mind and the senses and so on. What are we fighting with? Nirvisesha Sunyavadi. What is Nirvisesha? Yes, Dravida.
Nirvisesha is the mind and all is one.
Nirvisesha. It's all formless, it's all merged, it's all one. And they love to show this example. Of course, it's a bit of a visual, and I don't know if you can see from the side. But you hear it everywhere. We were at the Krishna Lounge in South Bay Friday night, and there's some guy who thinks he's saying something profound, how it's all one, and ultimately we are and you I, and we are all the Eggman or whatever. It's all one. Roll it all into one big ball, and that's everything. And that everything's one, and they love to say it, and it's considered profound. Although actually, it makes no sense at all. I don't want to I spend too much time on this, but here's the famous example they give, one of many. They say, okay? Now, I don't know if you can see this, but with my fallible senses. Oh, there we go. There is now an outside and an inside. There's duality. There's a separation. And that separation is the sense of ego, ahankara, of desire. This is wrong. Don't swallow this. Please don't go home and thinking, oh, Swami said it's all one. Now, their analogy is now we see duality, and is caused by false ego. We remove the false ego. It's all one again. So now you're lapping it up. Everybody says, there you go. No, it's completely wrong. It's a completely bogus concept that's been fed to us by, well, I don't want to go too far on that. One should ask, okay, if it was all one, what caused the one to separate? Isn't that an important question? It's all one, then I put my charter down. What caused the one to separate? Where did the sense of individuality, if it's all one, where did the ego come from? All of us having independent egos and senses of self. Where did that come from? What is the cause? And if it's all one, then when one of us becomes liberated, why doesn't the bubble pop for all of us and we're all back? Doesn't make any sense at all. Another one they give to us. The fact of the matter is, as Krishna says, and the Vedas say, and all the great acharyas, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Vishnu Swami, Nimbarkacharya, they all say it. Today's Easter. Jesus says, I am the Son, and there's God the Father. Well, God and Son, Father and Son. There's two. He says when because it's Easter, Jesus says, when I go back to heaven, I will sit on the right-hand side of the Father. So even in liberation, there's the individual and there's the supreme. Madhvacharya is sitting like this. Is he a precursor of Winston Churchill? Is he an early hippie with a peace sign? Why is Madhvacharya sitting like this? Anyone know? Even in liberation, there's the living entity and there's the individual. There's the Supreme Lord. There's the Atma and Paramatma in eternality. Another analogy they try to shove down our throat, and everybody laps it up, and there's a reason why they lap it up. We'll get to that in a minute, but I do have something else I want to say. When you see the ocean, it's all one, right? Don't swallow this. It sounds romantic, but where's the logic? Where's the causality? Where's the substance? It's pretty poetry. It's like cotton candy. Cotton candy tastes nice. Well, I mean, one hand, you know. But there's no substance there. There's nothing there, really. Okay, so the ocean's all one, right? And it splashes on a rock. And an individual drop. For a moment, it's an individual drop. Traveling through time and space. But it lands back in the ocean and becomes one. It's so romantic. And when people try to feed it to us, they think, oh, some Swami with a long beard. And you think, oh, it must be true. Okay, well, in the analogy, what's the rock? And what caused the ocean to splash on the rock? Where's this, you know? It doesn't make any sense. There has to be a cause of that oneness separating. And they have no explanation for it. Well, I don't want to spend too much. They say, oh, it's for pastime. So God's pastime, the Eternal's pastime, is to come to this material world and get cancer and be kicked like a football and suffer nasty smells. And no, it doesn't make any sense at all. So don't believe it. And that's, if we hear from Shastra, it means one in quality. I have a gold ring and I have the gold mine. They're same in quality, but not in quantity. Nityo nityanam chaitanas chaitananam. Katha Upanishad. Nitya nityanam chaitanas chaitananam. There are many eternals, individual eternals. Right? But what's the very next line other than Dravida? Anyone know the very next line? Oh, very good. Other than you, I'm going to have to put you in the box next time. Eko Bahonam Yovedada. Eko means one. There's one chief eternal who's maintaining all the others. While we're an illusion, who's running the show? If it's all one, and we've become an illusion, well, who's running the show? Who's maintaining and sustaining all existence while we're stumbling along and stubbing our toe and can't find our way out of a phone box, you know, with a Boy Scout and a compass?
Krishna.
Yeah, I appreciate the help. There's the Supreme Lord. Simultaneously, the individual living entity. So don't, when they start to feed you, which they always do, just say, hey, my friend, wake up. It's the same trope people have been trotting out, and it doesn't make any sense at all. And the reason, we have to understand the reason behind it. The reason behind it is because they're trying to avoid the inevitable. Like they say, if you see the light at the end of the tunnel,
Run away.
just work with me, my friend, work with me. If you see the light coming with you at the end of the tunnel, you know, they say it's the train coming at you, you know. So they don't like where the conclusion is leading. They know where it leads. If there's a Supreme Eternal that's maintaining all things, and we are well, I almost said it. What does that mean about our position? Nitya nityanam chaitanas chaitananam. Eko bahonam yovedadati kaman. What does it mean? We're all eternal. But anybody know why have we come to this world? Other than Druida. Anybody know? Yeah, we want to have our own realm, our own kingdom. What is it from the Paradise Lost? I'd rather be a king in hell than a slave in heaven. Of course, it's not slavery. It's divine love and ecstasy. And the most satisfying relationships possible. It's real liberation. But they'd rather be, you know, have a tiny kingdom and be kicked like a football. And here, just like in the prison house, I don't accept the government. You get these guys, they're in solitary, they're railing against the government. I don't surrender to anyone. I don't accept laws, outlaw. And they put them in a maximum security prison, 23 hours a day they're in jail. They can't even then have a window for fresh air, and they're railing about how they're independent and they don't accept the government. You're completely under the thumb of the government. Wake up, my friend. You're getting your fed, whatever. So the idea that there's independence but they don't like the idea of becoming subordinate to the Supreme, that we actually have to, we'll get to that in a second. So here's the main thing I wanted to focus on. Because it describes how Krishna, in the form of Vamanadeva, saved the world with merely 3 steps, which means God can do it. And Prabhupada talks about devotees who are full of desire and devotees who are free from desire. Now here devotees, the demigods full of desires, Krishna's immediately, after some supplication, Krishna's appearing and saving them, isn't it? He's coming, the whole thing's going to happen. He's going to come and save the demigods, as he's done so many times. And there's a list of all the different incarnations. Now the devotees without desire, why doesn't Krishna come save them? That's the question this is the question that vexes everyone, and it's one of the reasons many people become agnostic or atheist. That why doesn't God come save his devotees? Why are devotees in difficulty? Anybody here ever experienced difficulty? I'm speaking to our surrendered devotee population here. I know I've had moments of struggle. I'll have moments of struggle in the future. Well, what's going on here? Where is Krishna? Why isn't Krishna come? He can do it. Is he capricious? Is he cruel? Is he whimsical? Is he doing the best he can? But there's so many living entities. Few of them are going to fall through the cracks. What can he do? When he was looking over here, a couple of them, suffered. Well, that's not an all-powerful God. If God is all-merciful and God is all-powerful, then why do devotees struggle? It's a legitimate question. Now, we're going to get there. Just work with me, my friend. Why? Now, Prabhupada quotes a verse from 10:14:8, which has in the last line, Daya Bhak, which Rupa Goswami does a gloss on in Nectar of Devotion. Daya Bhak. What does that? Daya Bhak means one's rightful inheritance. If you're the eldest child, and then you inherit the throne of the king, or it's the nature. Good children will naturally inherit the property of the parents. Daya Bhak. It comes automatically. So what does that mean in connection? I'm going to read the verse, and I am going to read a little bit of the purport. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14:8, and we're talking once again, why doesn't Krishna come? He's responsive to protect those devotees with material desires. Well, it would seem that he'd be even more responsive to the desire, to the situation of devotees free from desire. So what's up with that? Maybe I'll get a few material desires, and Krishna will respond to my prayers. It's not working now. Maybe I got to desire a red Ferrari, and then Krishna will help me out. So the verse is, my dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds, and offering you all respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it becomes their rightful claim. I'm going to say that again. O Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon them, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of their past misdeeds. And whatever I've done in the past, this is a token reaction. Krishna is sending it to me. And there's another reason, a little more gloss on this. We'll get to that in a second. But it's a token reaction for what I've done in the past. It's meant for my purification. And let me just take that on my head. I deserve much worse. And let me, instead of, it's not quid pro quo. Krishna, you fulfill my desires or else I quit. Well, forget that. I'm working hard in Krishna's devotional service and he hasn't paid my rent or didn't send that beautiful brahmacharini I wanted to marry or, whatever it is. Well, forget it. Didn't cure my cancer? Forget it. I'm not serving anymore. What is this, a one-way street? I quit. But no, what is they know, devotees know this is something from a past life or this life. It's meant for my purification. Let me just take it on my head. Let me just learn from it. And let me go on with my service. Because if I have that attitude, I'm guaranteed that Krishna, when my heart is purified, Krishna will deliver me. It's guaranteed. Dayabhak. So, I'll just pick up from where we left off. All the while patiently suffering the reaction of past misdeeds and offering respectful obeisances within their heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become their rightful claim. And I wanted to read a little bit of Prabhupada's purport, because it's right to the point. From Prabhupada's purport to this verse 10:14:8. Lord Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, the devotee who's fully surrendered unto him no longer is liable to suffer the reactions of previous karma. Huh? Well, what's this? Well, there's a disparity here. There's a flaw. The devotee's thinking I'm suffering my past reaction. It's a token reaction. But we have right in Bhagavad Gita that they don't suffer reaction. Well, what's up with that? Is there a contradiction? Have we found a flaw in the Vedas? Well, I'm chucking the whole thing and going after that red Ferrari. Wasted all these years. However, this is Prabhupada's purport, because in his mind a devotee may still maintain the remnants of his previous sinful mentality. And it's like if you put wine in a pot. Of course, we would never do this, but there's wine in a clay pot. You can pour it out. You can scrub it out. There's no more wine, but there's the smell. The scent remains there. So even though we're not acting on our desires, there's a faint, and I've forgotten there's a word for it, a Sanskrit word, which means the lingering impression within the mind. It's hovering in the back there. And if it's hovering, just like, and Prabhupada gives, I didn't read the whole purport, and I've got a little more I want to read from the purport, but not the whole thing. But a fire may look like it's gone out. But you take it's gray on the top, but if you stir it, well, then the embers, underneath there may be some coals, some ember, and it'll start up again. So that's in the back of our mind. There's some residual, lingering savoring of past material activities. Joseph won't mind, and he's not thinking like this. He's not giving up those fishing poles because you never know. He might go back to fishing. No, I'm just joking. He's not thinking that. But he was making a joke yesterday, But so we're all kind of keeping in the closet a few of those just in case, I still got my dancing shoes in the back of my closet. I don't know, whatever it is, And Krishna knows that. And it's a risk. It's a risk because in the right place, in the right circumstance, in the right, like they've got those seeds that are 100 years old. But if it gets in the right circumstance, it gets soaked in the rain, and there's the right amount of soil and the right amount of sun, it'll germinate again. So Krishna knows that. So what does it say? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says in his translation of Brahma Samhita, you have to burn the seed to the tip of the root. Then you're safe. So I'm going to read on, because Prabhupada's explaining that principle. That, however, because in his mind a devotee may still maintain the remnants of his previous sinful mentality, the Lord removes the last vestiges of the enjoying spirit by giving his devotee punishments that may sometimes resemble sinful reaction. It's not actually a sinful reaction. It's Krishna giving us a good swift kick in the pants. Hey, you don't want no. Don't hold on to that last little attachment. I guess I'll say that in a minute. The purpose of the entire material creation is to rectify the living entity's tendency to enjoy without the Lord. And therefore, the particular punishment given for a sinful activity is specifically designed to curtail the mentality that produced the activity. That mentality create the activity. You don't want to get caught up in the activity again. You got to get rid of the mentality. And Prabhupada, in one place, calls the suffering of the devotees is delivered by the therapeutic, beneficent, merciful hand of the Supreme Lord. It's therapeutic. It's mercy. It's a specific, just like a doctor gives just, a good doctor, just the right prescription to get the last little bit of that disease out. So the suffering, that the struggles that devotees are going through is not past reactions, because he surrendered to Krishna, sarvadharma parityaja. So it's not a contradiction. What's happening is the therapeutic of the hand of the Lord. It's getting right there in your heart. It's getting right in there and just getting that last little bit out, lest it regerminate, and we fall back into it. So, although a devotee is surrendered to the Lord's devotional service until he is completely perfect in Krishna consciousness, he may maintain a slight inclination to enjoy the false happiness of this world. The Lord therefore creates a particular situation to eradicate the remaining enjoying spirit. That's what's going on here. I'll read it again. The Lord therefore creates a particular situation to eradicate this remaining enjoying spirit. So when we're feeling that pressure and that anxiety and that struggle, we don't rail against Krishna. We don't say, well, hey, I thought I surrendered to Krishna. I was freed of all karma. We think, oh, wait, this is the merciful, therapeutic hand of the Lord. He's working on something. He's got his fine tools, and he's getting in there, getting that last little bit out. And thank heaven for that. That's how a devotee thinks. This unhappiness unsuffered by a sincere devotee is not technically a karmic reaction. This also goes to show how everything's in Prabhupada's books. It's fantastic purport. It is rather the Lord's special mercy for inducing his devotee to completely let go of the material world and return back home, back to Godhead. I'm going to read that again. It's just a pearl. It is rather the Lord's special mercy for inducing his devotee to completely let go of the material world and return home, back to Godhead. Now, the last thing I want to say, if we accept, because it talks about here designing and maintaining and sustaining the universe. What is inherent in design? Design, we design things to a, help me out here, starts with a P. Purpose. Things are designed to a purpose. Why is the cup shaped like it's shaped? Well, it has a purpose. What's the purpose? It's got to hold liquid. Why does it have a handle on it? Well, it might be hot. So you got a cup of herbal tea. You got a cup there. You got it, so there it is. It holds it, and it's got a handle. The design is to a purpose. Everything has got every design inherent within the design is a purpose. You with me? Yeah, just look around. Everything's, it's got a purpose. Design means purpose. Design to purpose. In fact, the purpose comes first, then comes the design. One follows on the other. So if there's a design to this world, what does it mean? Help me out. There's a purpose. There's a purpose to this world, and Prabhupada calls it the false hope. We're thinking this is the cause of the whole conundrum, the whole conflict, the whole square peg in a round hole. We're thinking this world is designed to enjoy. We think this body is designed to enjoy, but that's not what it's designed for. It's designed for this. It's designed to weed out the last tinges of the spirit of material enjoyment. Because there's no real substance there. And it's denying us the real enjoyment. It's just a distraction. You may think you're having... It's not the best analogy, and I'm trying to fill it out. But You know, I was flying on a plane on the way back here, and the partner and the guy on the other side, you know, we started a conversation on a few things. And he was eating a chicken wing. I mean, it's just, I mean, I don't even want to go into it, but you got the bone and the muscles falling off and there's tendons. It's just nasty, you know? And I had, by Krishna's grace, the grace of the devotees in Delhi, I had some nice prasadam. So I unpacked my prasadam, you know, and there's nice, anyway, it was a feast. What can I say? It was very nice prasadam. And the guy looked over and said, well, now I know who's enjoying. You know, and I said, you got that one right, buddy. I said, put that thing down, I'll share with you, you know. So he actually put it down, and I said, I don't want to smell it. Put it in the bag, get rid of it, and we'll share, you know. And I had plenty of prasadam, So what we're thinking is enjoyment in this world, it's just petty and paltry and pernicious and pale. We got another P there, Dravida? Pernicious, paltry, pathetic, putrid. There we go, man. It's just, and that's just starting with the P's. You know, it's just, what is it? It's nothing to write home about. And the devotees, at every moment, ever increasing ecstasy. So here's the main point I wanted to make. There are two purposes. Design, the body, it's obviously designed for self-realization. It's not designed for eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Put Bruce Lee in a cage with a Bengal tiger. Who are you going to bet on? It's not designed for defense. I mean, we can go down the list. It's not designed for sleeping, although some brahmacharis are giving it a good run. No, it's designed for self-realization. Bears defeat you at that. I mean, we can just go down the list. Fish, there's certain types of fish that are territorial. They're in the water, and they have an area that they've chalked out. I forget the name of the fish. That's their territory, man. You step in that, and they become rabid. So my nation, my country, fish. It's ridiculous. So if there's a design for each of us, there's a design, and Krishna is working on that design. There's a design, there's a purpose, and there's a plan. And we can rest assured, we can relax, because Krishna's expert, and he's in our heart, and he's working his plan. And that's what's happening. The little tension we feel, Krishna's trying to chip this off and chip that off, and that's what's going on. Now, on the grand scale, that's true on the micro scale for each and every one of us. Krishna's got a plan, he's working on me, so I don't need to worry about it. I'm in good hands. Good kids with good parents, they're just like goofing off. They're playing. I mean, once they get into school, they got to get to work, but you know, they don't worry about. Suppose you came home. Well, we're going to go a little bit late. 5 more minutes. Suppose you came home one day and you've got good, loving parents, and you asked your mother or your father, can I stay here tonight? Can I have a meal? I won't eat much, I promise. And I'll leave tomorrow morning. I'll just one night and a little warm soup. Can I do that? How does a parent feel? What do you think? You're a mother. How do you think if your kid said that to you? Would you be happy with that? No. What would you think? You'd be in anxiety. You'd think, why is my child? I mean, I love you. That's the whole thing. Everything I'm doing is for you. Why are you feeling so insecure? I mean, Krishna's arranged, everything's going on. And we're saying, oh, Krishna, please, can you pay my rent? Krishna, can you know. I mean, we have to work, we have to be practical. Devotees said we're not, Krishna said we're fearless, but we're not fools. Okay, but on the individual, we know that Krishna's with me and he's working on me. Now, on the macro scale, there's a plan. If the world's designed, there's a plan. That plan, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes to this world and says, I'm the only gardener, I have all these fruits I want to distribute, these nectarian fruits. And what does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ask? This is the main point I wanted to get to, believe it or not. What does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ask? What does he say in Chaitanya Charitamrita about being the only gardener? Is he happy? Dravida Prabhu, is he happy as the only gardener? Anyone know? Is he happy? Where were you when I need you? Is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu happy being the only gardener? Yeah, so what is what is his order? I order all of you, all people of the world, take up this work. So if we don't have to spend our time worried about all of our little anxieties and all of our little problems, which we can't solve anyway. Well, the Bible says it's Easter, lay down that burden. If we lay down that heavy burden, okay, Krishna, you take care of it, and if you haven't taken care of it, really there's a reason. You're trying to purify me. So I don't need to spend my whole time running in a circle like a hamster on a wheel, solving what I can't solve and moaning and groaning and about, whatever difficulties, which are actually therapeutic for my purification. So if I'm not thinking about that, nature abhors a vacuum. The mind's going to be thinking about something. If I'm not thinking, who for 10 points, and a guarantee that I'll end the class, who can make the connection other than Dravida? Who can make the connection? If I don't have to do this work, because it's all under Krishna's care, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has work to save this world. The world is designed for a purpose. The purpose is to deliver the living entities. If I don't have to do that, and I'm going to be active, what should I be doing? Help me out. Connect the dots, Prabhus. We should be engaged in the service of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There is a purpose. There's a design. There's a purpose. There's a plan, and we get to be part of it. It's a wonderful, mystical, magical flow. It could not be bigger. People talk about, we're going to change the economy, or they got a 5-year plan, or they got, or there's a new trend, or, whatever it is, social trending. Those are all just little flashes in the pan. What about changing the entire consciousness of the world to spiritual understanding, which Mahaprabhu says? 500 years ago, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. It's confirmed in the Bhavishya Purana. It's confirmed by Srila Prabhupada. It's confirmed in the 12th canto of the Bhagavatam that from Mahaprabhu's birth, there's 5,000 years. The Kali Yuga is going this way. But every now and then there's a cross current. There's an eddy. There's something that runs counter to the mainstream. We see that. You see it in a river, you see it in so many things. So, Kali Yuga is going this way. But from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance, 500 years ago plus, it goes up 5,000 years, and it plateaus for 5,000 years. There's a golden age within Kali. And that is Mahaprabhu's plan. And we can participate in that. That's where... What a wonderful, amazing thing that we get that chance. If we'll just stop worrying about our petty issues, who moved my cheese, who took my chapati, or whatever it is, we just move somewhere else. And I'll end with this. Mahatma Prabhu shared a story, a pastime, a historical event. He was in San Francisco for the 1970 Ratha Yatra. So was I. But I was down at the Ratha Yatra site with Jayananda. That's a whole other story. But he was at the temple when Prabhupada came. Now the temple in San Francisco on Frederick Street was a tiny little... If I went from... Well, I'll be liberal. From the middle of this arch to where Tyler's sitting, that was about the size of the temple room. It was like a boxcar on a train. And devotees from all over the West Coast, and actually from all over the place, showed up for the Ratha Yatra, and Prabhupada was there. And it was the first time that there'd been a mela, a gathering of so many devotees, probably around 500 devotees. And when Prabhupada arrived, he came to the door and he stopped. And he stopped, Mahatma was telling, and many devotees, he stopped and he stepped back and he just closed his eyes and then he meditated on the scene. Then he came in and he sat down and he sang the samsara prayers. Instead of the usual Hare Krishna or Nama, he sang the samsara prayers. Later on, the devotees asked Prabhupada, why did you sing? The samsara prayers are the prayers to the spiritual master and the disciplic succession. So they asked Prabhupada, why did you sing this? And Prabhupada said, I was inviting my spiritual master. I was calling. It's a better. He said, I was calling my spiritual master that just come and see this. He was calling the previous acharyas, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami. He was called Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. He was calling them and saying, come, just see. It's working. It's Mahaprabhu's mystic plan. Well, look, here we are in America, and all these crazy drug-addicted, sex-addicted hippies, they're all becoming nice Vaishnavas. And it's spreading. Prabhupada was calling, he was stunned to see the scene, and he was calling the previous acharyas and his spiritual master, just come and see, it's working. So that's what we get to participate. We should wake up every morning and feel doubly, triply, to the nth degree blessed. Okay, so that's a little purport on Daya Bhak in this verse. Thank you for sitting so patiently. Hare Krishna. All glories to Prabhupada. And now we get to take prasad.